In 543 BC, a North Indian prince named Vijayan came by ship to a place near Thalaimanar in Neelam. Historically, there was never any communal tension between Tamils and Sinhalese. Chola king யதளம was the great king who erected, hoisted and let the tiger flag fly high in Anuradhapuram. The Tamils and Sinhalese had been living in unity without any communal hatred. History of Sri Lanka. Glorious rule of Tamil Pandyas. Later in time, the king Sadayavarman Sundarapandian I established the Pandya Empire. In Lanka, he captured all Tamil lands which were lost in earlier days and joined all those lands with his powerful empire. After him, his son Maravarman Kulasekara Pandian came to throne from 1268 AD to 308 AD. Kulasekara Pandian steered his country towards prosperity during the Golden Age. Under the great rule of Kulasekara Pandian, Sri Lanka was wealthy and splendid empire. Under the governance of the great empire, they called the kings with the title of Arya Kula Chakravartigal. Tamils ruled Lanka with Yalpanam as their capital. The significant theme to be noted is that in all the wars, the Cholas and Pandyas fought against the Sinhalese. There had been no genocide and war crimes on both sides. The principal intention of both armies was just to recapture the lands which were captured by their enemies previously. After the death of King Maravarman Kulasekara Pandian I, a quarrel rose between his sons, Prince Sundara Pandian and Prince Veera Pandian, for the inheritance of the great empire. Due to this, the great Pandyan Empire gradually lost its power. As the Pandyan Empire lost its strength, all the kings who are called Arya Chakravartigal has announced themselves as independent rulers. With a separate flag of their own and governed Elam for almost 350 years. The army commander Kulasekaran Singarayan was previously sent by Maravarman Kulasekara Pandian with the purpose of restoring and recapturing Yalpanam city. Army commander Singarayan's descendants were the kings with Arya Chakravarti title, with their flag containing the symbols of a bull, a right-handed conch, a crescent moon and the sun. They self-governed their respective territories independently. The 18 rulers who were titled as Arya Chakravartigal meritoriously ruled Lanka with Nallur in Yalpanam as their capital city. During their reign, importance was given to the growth of Tamil language. They had been ruling their country following the principles of Tamil Samayam or Sivagam. The Murugan temple in Nallur and Sivan temple in Tiruvannamalai was restored, and Elam Tamil Desam flourished magnificently and had reached its pinnacle, filled with wealth and prosperity. In the year 1377 AD, Vijayanagara Vaduga king Kumara Kambanan came forward saying that he would free Madurai from the clutches of Muslim Sultanate. But after capturing Madurai, he cunningly annexed the whole Pandyan kingdom with his Vijayanagara kingdom. With the help of Siringeri Sankaracharya, the Vadugas, Hariharan and Bukkan founded and established the Vijayanagara Empire. Kumara Kambanan was the son of this Bukkan. In every region he invaded and captured, he appointed only Telugus as representatives to rule those areas. There were ruthless mercenaries called Kammavar Vadugas, who existed in Vijayanagara army. Who were these Vadugas? In the Indian subcontinent, between the areas of Vindhya mountain and Venkata hills were dense forests. In ancient Tamil literature, this place had been mentioned as Molipeyar Desam. The ethnic Tamils had called the people dwelling in those forest areas as Vadugas. As Molipeyar Desam was situated in north of Tamil country, they had been called as Vadakars, meaning tribes of the north. In later period, it deformed to Vadugar. The main occupation of this Vadugar had been hunting. They used deadly dogs to help with their hunting. Due to this reason, they had been known as Kadanai Vetuvar or Kadanai Vadugar. They had no moral life and had no training in traditional ethical warfare. They had been using dogs for hunting and robbery. Occasionally, they worked as mercenaries. These Vadugars, skilled in savage attacks and brutal assassinations, had been mobilized against the Muslim invaders by Sringeri Sankaracharya. In South India, it was these Vadugars who played a major role in Vijayanagara force and had been involved in all the battles against the Muslim forces. These Vadugars acted as a slave of Brahmin Jews to drive the Muslim rulers out of South India and massacred Muslims wherever they saw them. As a reward to the genocide of Muslims in South India, the title Kshatriyan has been bestowed on Vadugars by Sringeri Sankaracharya. After the defeat of Muslims, building on that victory, the Vijayanagara Empire was formed. The first Vijayanagara Vaduga king was Haryana. The style and governance of Vijayanagara regime was that of a brutal and tyrannical military regime. Land holdings of most Tamil people were forcibly confiscated. The land were subdivided into many palayams and representatives were appointed for each palayams. Telugu Vadugas tortured and ruled Tamils by appointing Dandanayakans for each village and Amaranayakans for each palayam, atrociously collecting heavy taxes from native Tamils, destroying the traditional local administrative system created by Tamil kings. The Telugu Vadugar kings persecuted Tamil people, leaving heavy taxations through Palayapattu system. As the whole of North India was under the control of Muslim kings, this Vadugar state was created by Sringeri Sankaracharya exclusively to protect and safeguard Brahmanism through the Vijayanagara domain. Most of the Sanskrit literature of Hindu mythology was written only during Vijayanagara period. The Vadugar king Krishnadevarayan, who had been the greatest Brahmin Jews foot soldier, had composed many devotional mythical stories. In 1529 AD, Krishnadevarayan sent Vishwanatha Nayakan, son of Madurai Pradhani Nagama Nayakan, to fight against his own father who had revolted against Krishnadevarayan. After suppressing and defeating Nagama Nayakan, Vishwanatha Nayakan captured and took hold of Madurai and later gained independence from Vijayanagara Empire. The Madurai Nayak kingdom was formed as a separate country under the head of Telugu Vadugan Vishwanatha Nayakan. When the whole of Tamil Nadu comes under the control of Vadugars, ethnic Tamil priests were forcibly evicted from all the temples of Tamil Nadu. Vijayanagara kings gave importance only to the immigrant Vaduga Brahmins. The Vijayanagara kings expelled Tamil from the temples of Tamil Nadu. Sanskrit replaced the native language Tamil. For example, one Telugu Vadugan named Ramapayan, the general of Tirumalai Nayakan army, drew out the ethnic Pulipani Chittar priest out of most sacred Palni Murugan temple and appointed Vadugar Brahmins. These Tamil priests, who were of Parayar community, were expelled from many temples, underwent untouchability, and suffered many atrocities by foreign Vaduga Brahmins. The Madurai Nayak regime forcefully grabbed all the lands of Tamil peasants Mallas and made them slaves and bonded laborers. The Tamil community was forced to live as prisoners under Telugus in their own homeland. Tamils lost their freedom for everything: their right to speech, right to own property, even the right to wear shirts. Just like the way Pandya kingdom was enslaved with Madurai as its capital, Tiruchi Nayakan, Tanjai Nayakan, Senji Nayakan and Velu Nayakan brought the rest of Tamil Nadu under their rule too. Priority was given only to immigrant communities like Vaduga Brahmin Jews and Saurashtras who were brought from North India, bringing in more barbaric Vadugas like Kamavar, Sillavar, Rajakambalam, Gavara, Kanjam, Totti Nayakan, Balija Nayakan into Tamil's motherland. Tamil people were completely oppressed and enslaved. In 1564 AD, Kumara Krishnappa Nayakan, son of Vishwanatha Nayakan, who ruled Madurai, mobilized a large force of 20,000 soldiers from Madurai, invaded Sri Lanka, defeated Sinhalese Kandy kingdom and captured it. He handed over the captured Kandy kingdom to his brother-in-law Vijayagopala Nayakan, says the Telugu book Sinhala Deepakatha. Most of the soldiers in Kumara Krishnappa Nayakan's army were savage mercenaries belonging to Telugu Kamar sector, brutally assassinated the Sinhala king and the soldiers of Kandy kingdom. They captured and took over the whole of Kandy under their domain. Once they captured it, the first job the Telugu Vadagas did was to snatch and take possession of the sacred tooth of Buddha from Sinhalese. According to Sinhalans' traditional beliefs, those who possessed the tooth of Buddha would be the ones who deserved to rule Sri Lanka. These Telugu Vadagas came to know about this belief and had cunningly looted the sacred tooth of Buddha from the Sinhalese and brought it to Kandy. The Telugu Nayak rulers of Tamil Nadu helps Vijayagopala Nayak of Kandy Nayak kingdom during wars with the British and the Dutch. The troops from Tamil Nadu that was sent to Kandy also helped them to oppress and take control of the locals, mainly the Sinhalese. Vijayagopala Nayakan and all the kings who succeeded him continuously established and strengthened their bilateral relationship by marrying the women from royal families of Tamil Nadu Nayakan rulers or from Telugu zamindars. In this lineage, Veera Narendra Singhan, the king of Kandy, was left without a male heir. Earlier, he had married the daughter of Pitti Nayakan, the zamindar of a Palayam in Madurai Nayakan kingdom. Taking advantage of the absence of male heir, his Telugu brother-in-law, the son of Pitti Nayakan, with the help of his queen sister, ascended the Kandy throne. From 1759 AD, he started ruling Kandy with the Sinhala name Vijayaraja Singalan. In the year 1736 AD, the armies of Madurai Nayaks lost their territory and were defeated by the allied force of British and Arcot Nawabs. As Queen Meenakshi has no issue to rule the country, Madurai kingdom was came to an end. During the same period, the rest of the Nayaks, Tiruchi Nayaks, Tanjore Nayaks, Velu Nayaks and Senji Nayak kingdoms also came to an end. Tamil Nadu was caught in the clutches of Islamic Nawabs and the English company authorities. In this situation, the Telugu kings in Kandy realized a practical problem, that they being minority Telugus would no longer receive any military assistance from Tamil Nadu. So to retain their rule in Kandy, they drafted a cunning plan. The Vadagar kings cleverly decided to adopt Buddhism and Sinhala language to pretend to be the native Sinhalese. So these Vadagars, to hide their true Telugu identity, conveniently adopted Buddhism and started using Sinhala names and continues to rule Kandy. The Telugus converted more and more Telugu Vadagars into Buddhist monks. In this way, they had brought Sri Lanka's Buddhism completely under their control. All the Telugu Nayak royal families of Tamil Nadu who wanted to save their lives from Britishers chose Kandy for a safe haven and settled there comfortably. After the reign of Queen Meenakshi, Bangaru Thirumalai, a Telugu commander in the army, wanted to climb the Madurai throne, but he realized that he would not be able to confront the allied armies of English and Arcot Nawabs together. So he changed his decision. At that time, an opportunity knocked at this door. The Telugu king Vijayaraja Singhan, who had been ruling Kandy, attained marriageable age and wanted a bride from royal family in Madurai. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Bangaru Thirumalai made arrangements to marry the daughter of this maternal cousin, Narayanappa Nayakan, to the king of Kandy Vijayaraja Singhan. To make the marriage arrangements, Narayanappa Nayakan and his two sons went to Kandy and they settled there permanently. Later they also adopted Buddhism and started living in that place. In the year 1747 AD, Vijayaraja Singhan died without a male heir. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Narayanappa Nayakan crowned his elder son as the next king of Kandy. Kirtiraja Singhe, who ascended the throne in 1747, campaigned for the revival of Telugu Buddhism. Raja Singhe took brides from Palayams of Tamil Nadu and the families of the remaining Thamizhar Nayakhs. Kirtiraja Singhe's reign ended in 1882. Kirtiraja Singhe's brother ascended the throne as he has no male heir. He ruled over the name of Rajadi-Raja Singhan and maintained the dominance of the Telugu Vadukas. Rajadi-Raja Singhe married Mubindarama, a woman from Palayam near Madurai. As Rajadi-Raja Singhe also died without a male heir, Kannusami Naidu, the nephew of Mubindarama, ascended the throne. Born in Madurai, Kannusami Naidu was crowned king of Kandy in 1798 as Vikrama Raja Singhan. He was the last king of Kandy. He became a king at an early age and was declared by the people to be an irresponsible tyrant. He too married a Telugu woman named Venkatarangammal. Just like his ancestors, the monarchy of Ceylon came to an end after the fall of Kandy to the British in 1815. The British arrested Kannusami Naidu and imprisoned him at Velur Fort. The last 4 kings of Kandy belonged to Telugu Nayak dynasty, born in Tamil Nadu. Tamil was the official language of Kandy, as the Tamils of Sri Lanka were native from time immemorial. As the Telugu Nayaks had gone from Tamil Nadu, it became easier for them to rule Kandy. From 1564 to 1815, Telugus ruled Kandy. Thousands of Telugus who went to Kandy as soldiers during this period settled there permanently. Telugus adopted the Sinhala language and embraced Buddhism to disguise themselves among the Sinhalese natives. Under the Nayak regime of Kandy, all top administrative and military commanders' posts were given to Telugu Vadukas. They identified themselves as Radala caste. After the fall of Kandy Nayak government, the Telugus were forced to submit to the British. They converted to Christianity to get close to the British. They also betrayed Tamils and ethnic Sinhalese to the British and gained high positions in the government as a result. The Telugus also stole the title of Mudaliyar from the Tamil people and perfected the work of serving the British. Don Spatter Senanayak and Solomon Dayas Bandaranayak were the ones who held the highest positions, looting the title Mudaliyar of Tamils. Their descendants continued to rule Sri Lanka even after the British left the island. Don Stephen Senanayak, a Telugu, was the first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka after independence in 1948. He was the son of Don Spatter Senanayak. All the key ministers in his cabinet were Telugus in Sinhalese grab. It is these Telugus who continuously usurped the rights of Tamils since the day Sinhala gained independence. The Vadukas took up Sinhala racism ideology and Buddhist religious fanaticism to hide their Telugu identities. Telugus turned the ethnic Sinhalese against the native Tamils and the Tamil Islamists and are still reaping political benefits of cheap politics even today. Senanayakhs family is one of the most important political family in Sri Lanka. It was a family that controlled the United National Party of Sri Lanka. After their tenure, this racist party came under the control of another Telugu, Jayavardhane. It was Telugu Jayavardhane who staged the barbaric ethnic riots against Tamils in July 1983. Another major political party in Sri Lanka is the Bandaranayak family, who control the Sri Lankan Freedom Party. Solomon West Ridgeway Dayas Bandaranayak is the son of Solomon Dayas Bandaranayak, a Telugu who was the puppet of the British. His wife, Sirimavo Ratwate, was a Radala Telugu from the Kandy province. Chandriga Kumaratunga was the couple's daughter. This Telugu political family was responsible for inciting racism against Eelam Tamils and ruled for about 30 years. The Telugu Bandaranayaks were the prime cause for the riots against Tamils in Sri Lanka in 1958. In 1964, Telugu Sirivamo Bandaranayak ordered the deportation of 6 lakh plantation Tamils. Siriomo Bandara Nayak decided to mercilessly deport lakhs of plantation Tamils who worked hard to create tea estates in Sri Lanka for more than a century and thus were the backbone of the Sri Lankan economy. Even in today's independent Sri Lanka, Vaduga Telugus control not just the Sri Lanka's main ruling and opposing parties, but also the ultra-fascist terrorist Buddhist organization Bodubala Sena. The only job of this organization is to turn the ethnic Sinhalese Buddhist majority against the ethnic Tamil minority and the Tamil-speaking Muslim minority. Due to the fact that the barbaric ultra-minority Telugus are in the guise of Sinhalese, they have convinced the outside world that the attack on Tamils is being carried out by Sinhalese majority. The Telugus have the habit of demolishing the temples of Tamils and building Buddhist viharas in the same place so that the Sinhalese will not identify the true Telugu ethnicities. Because of rampant racism and religious fanaticism, to this today, Sinhalese have not realized that fact that Telugus are ruling Sri Lanka. The citizens living along the west coast of Sri Lanka are the true ethnic Sinhalese. The Sinhala word Karava is derived from the pure Tamil word Karaival Makkal, meaning coastal inhabitants. The real Sinhalese people living in Sri Lanka have never had the opportunity to become the heads of the state in Sri Lanka. Keeping the natives out of power was the main objective of the Telugu despots. The Telugus also disfigured the so-called Mahavamsam, the historical chronicle of Sri Lanka, to suit themselves during the reign of Kandy Nayakhs. They also completely erased the long ancient history of Tamils in Sri Lanka. Vijaya Singhe Mudaliyar, who translated the Mahavamsam into English during the British period, was the first to reveal the fact that the many original manuscripts of Mahavamsa have been missing and that the present day Mahavamsa has been reconfigured many times. In conclusion, from the day Sri Lanka gained independence from the British till present day, the country has been ruled by Telugus posing as Sinhalese. The Sena Nayake family, Bandara Nayake family, Jayavardhane, Rajasinghe Premadasa, Maitripala Sirisena, Ranil Vikramasinghe and Rajapakse, who massacred Eelam Tamils, are all of Telugu ethnicity. This is the secret reason why Rajapaksha and Sirisena visits the Tirupati Venkatachalapati temple, the favorite deity of Indian Telugus. Vikramasinghe visits Guruvayur Krishna temple, another of the Telugu's favorite deities.